With all that's going on in the world right now, and with everything seemingly pretty much coming to a screeching halt, especially in the world of sports, I cannot express just how thankful I am, and I'm sure a lot of other people are the same. Thankful, thankful, thankful that NFL's free agency period is underway. I'm so glad it didn't get pushed back. I'm so glad we're going full steam ahead with it. Because I don't know about any of you, I certainly could use the distraction right about now. Something to fill the void, something to talk about, something to entertain in some cases. Thanks, Bob! Well, my goodness. Tuesday was an interesting day, wasn't it? A lot of big news, big moves. But beyond question, the most noteworthy news item of the day in NFL free agency was first the announcement that after 20 seasons, Tom Brady would not be returning to the New England Patriots. Like over the course of the past 2 decades, you've pretty much associated a few certainties: death, taxes, and Tom Brady as Bill Belichick's quarterback for the New England Patriots. And it will be that way no longer. It's a bizarre, surreal type of feeling. And I have to imagine Patriots fans were potentially prepared for this day and knowing that this was perhaps inevitable, but still has to be shocking and stunning and heartbreaking. As you think about it, there are kids in college right now that might even be Patriots fans that have only ever known Tom Brady as the starting quarterback of that team. He's been the dude. He's been the only one. Well, if you take out the 2008 season with Matt Castle, you get what I'm saying. He's been the guy for pretty much 2 decades now. That is a long, long time. He took over as a starting quarterback in 2001 after, what was it, in the Jets game in, I think, week 2. I could be off on the weeks a little bit. Please forgive me. Again, it was almost 20 years ago when Mo Lewis laid that devastating shot on Drew Bledsoe. Yeah, Drew Bledsoe. That's how far back we go. And in comes Tom Brady, and the rest, as they say, is history. 2001. 2001. Right around the time 9/11 happened. Like, that's how far back we go with this. Shaq and Kobe were dominating the league together as part of that Lakers dynasty under head coach Phil Jackson. That's how far back we go. This goes back into the days where Marshall Faulk and Kurt Warner were leading the greatest show on turf of the St. Louis Rams. All the years. And now Tom Brady not only is not going to be a New England Patriot, it's going to be even weirder to see him in a Tampa Bay Buccaneers uniform. He has apparently come to terms on an agreement for multiple years at least $30 million per season. This is shocking. Maybe not shocking that he's actually leaving New England. Maybe not even shocking that he ended up signing with Tampa Bay. It's just overall shocking. Like, it was something you potentially envisioned and anticipated that, if anything else, Robert Kraft would never allow Tom Brady to play in another team's uniform. And yet, lo and behold, here we are, 2020. It's happening. Damn, that's crazy. And when you look at this move on the surface, I have no fault to Tom Brady. He has earned the right to do whatever the hell he wants. He is the greatest NFL quarterback of all time. And I'm sorry. I'm as much as a live in the past, different era type of guy, history, blah, 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 dude. But when you look at the consistency of performance, the greatness of performance over the extended period of time, combined with the postseason success and overall accomplishments, Tom Brady is the GOAT of NFL quarterbacks, period. That's it. It's over. It's okay. It doesn't mean other guys weren't greats or all-time greats. But he's that dude. He is that dude. Accept it. It will be crazy to see him in an offense where he's not throwing to Julian Edelman anymore. He's going to be throwing to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Cameron Brady and O.J. Howard. Like, that's weird. And as far as the move from a football standpoint, I think the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick realized they got to a point in time where even having Tom Brady no longer was going to be good enough. And that playoff loss to Tennessee probably sealed the deal. And they're really worried and thinking about the next chapter and what happens in the next 5 to 10 years of that organization and its trajectory. And I certainly understand that. How much longer can you get behind a 43-year-old quarterback? No matter what, you're dealing with a very, very narrow window of time. And when you look at it from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers standpoint, it's going to suck in one way is to see the Jameis Winston experience come to an end. Because, by God, even if he was brutal sometimes, it was always fun, interesting, and entertaining. There's no question about that. But now you go with a guy clearly towards the tail end of his career in a almost mid-40s Tom Brady. You have made a strong definitive statement that you believe you can win, and you can win right now. Which is not surprising considering the history of Bruce Arians. Not one to deal with young quarterbacks. He likes his veteran signal callers when he's the NFL team's coach. You look back at the Cardinals and what he did with Carson Palmer at the end of Carson Palmer's career. Now you're going to be dealing with the GOAT of quarterbacks in Tom Brady. And I look at this and I hear a lot of people talking about, oh, this is great news for Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and their fantasy stock. And is it? Jameis threw for over 5,000 yards last year. You really think Tom Brady's going to do that? At his advanced years, even with the increased level of talent around him, it's probably asking for a bit much. Maybe, just maybe, they'll actually utilize the tight ends in a Bruce Arians system, which would be a stunning and brand new development. In that particular case, maybe you would say the stock of Cameron Brate and or former first-round pick O.J. Howard might increase. That could be true. But if you're measuring this just based off of name pop and recognition value, like fantasy football-wise and statistically, this is going to be a bad thing for Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And that's not why you make this move. You make this move because you think Tom Brady's going to help you win more football games. And where Tom Brady potentially helps you win more football games than Jameis Winston, even as a 43-year-old starting quarterback, is he's a better decision maker. He's got a better feel and grasp and understanding of the game. He's Tom freaking Brady. He's not going to put the ball at risk so much. You're not going to have as many turnovers. And as a result, you might not have the same type of explosive offense per se, but you might be able to win more football games. That said, do the Buccaneers really think that they were a quarterback away? Like, can you really honestly say that this team was a quarterback away? And when you look at that offensive line, do you have a lot of confidence that they're going to be able to protect Tom Brady effectively enough? When you look at that defense, do you really feel like that is a defense that you can win a championship with? And is that a defense that you can get to that point in one off season? And I just don't know. Like, how many seasons do you expect Tom Brady to play? 2, maybe? Maybe 3 if you want to get really, really ambitious with this crap. So you're basically saying that a team that didn't make the playoffs again, that hasn't made the playoffs once in Jameis Winston's 5 years, all of a sudden is going to turn it around and not only make the playoffs, because that's not the end game here, they're going to make a run in the playoffs, a deep run in the playoffs, a Super Bowl run. Sure, it could possibly happen. It just feels like you're asking a little bit much at this point, especially when you look at this and you say, okay, here's another Hall of Fame quarterback at the tail end of his career. How has that worked out in other places with other guys? Joe Montana, when he played the last 2 seasons in Kansas City, they made a relatively deep playoff run, but that didn't result in a Super Bowl. Brett Favre, playing his last few seasons, first 2008 with the Jets and then 09 and 10 with the Vikings. The Vikings got a vintage year out of them in 2009, and they still didn't get to the Super Bowl. Got to the NFC Championship game in overtime at that, but ultimately came up short. And even if you want to call out Peyton Manning in the last 4 years of his career being spent in Denver, there was a little bit of an exception to the rule, but by the time you got to 2015, Peyton Manning was shot. So when they made that Super Bowl, trust and believe, you've got to acknowledge it. Whereas 2013, they made the Super Bowl and got creamed by the Seahawks, and they made the Super Bowl that year based off of the strength of that high-powered, explosive, historic level offense. By 2015, Peyton Manning was along for the ride. He was terrible. It was the defense and it was a running game that carried him that year. So envisioning even a little bit of decline in Tom Brady in the next year or two, where are other guys going to step up? Like, that's a lot of money to invest in a guy, and all the while, it puts you right back in a situation again where in another year or two, you're going to be looking at having to change again at the quarterback position. Was that really the best move to make? All I got to say is it better work. You're going to invest that much money in the quarterback position. You're going to bring in a name like Tom Brady. Bruce Arians, the heat is on. You better make sure that it works, because if it doesn't, this is going to be a clown school type of move. Now, if for no other reason, I look at the possibility of Tom Brady and Drew Brees facing off against each other in the same division twice a year at the end of their career even, you can sign me up for that. Like, that should be a week 1 Sunday night, Monday night type of game. Like, that's a big freaking deal. Two of the all-time greats at the quarterback position in Brady and Brees now are going to face off, guaranteed, not once, but twice in a season. For that, if no other reason, it's exciting. If for no other reason, then there's a curiosity now as to what Belichick and the Patriots are going to do and what the next chapter in their organization's history looks like. It is worth it. It is a landscape-changing move. How much of a landscape changer it is remains to be seen. But it still even feels weird at this point to say that Tom Brady not only is not going to be the quarterback of the New England Patriots in 2020, but he's going to do so with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If there's any justice left in this world, if we're going to get nuts, let's get nuts, and let's bring back those damn creamsicle uniforms for the Bucs. Is that too much to ask?